All right, now that we've practiced setting up percent problems and you've practiced identifying the part, base, and rate, we're going to actually get some math problems and do some math problems. We're still going to work out of that same book, that Kaplan GED math, Kaplan GED book, and we're still going to set up our page the same way we did in the previous set of problems. So turn to a new page. I like to write on the back, but you can do whatever you want. And let's go ahead and set your page up. So get you a straight edge or a ruler or something and make yourself a grid. And then get your pencil and let's get started. All right. So we want to write our formula at the top of our page. Part over base equals rate over 100. And I'm also going to write is over of equals percent over 100. So you really need to be familiar with those. Now, we're going to be working on page 269. And I'm going to work on my whiteboard, but you're going to work right on your grids, okay? Because I think you can see better on my whiteboard. Have your calculator handy, and let's get started. Now, I like the way that the Kaplan book sets you up for percents, because there's just lots of basic problems before we get into the word problems. I don't really want to do word problems until I know that I can do these backwards and forwards. Okay? So it says find the missing element. It says you may not use a calculator. Now, if you're working on the GED prep, you may try these without a calculator, or if you're working to take the ASVAB, you definitely want to practice without using a calculator. If you're going to take the HiSET, then you're going to have a calculator the whole time, and we're going to use a calculator in this video. So we've got 35%. 35% is, notice my word is, $35 is 20% of what amount? So we've got our page set up, and we're doing number 1. And we're going to go ahead and do P equals, B equals, R equals. Now, $35 is 20%. Okay, 20%, dead giveaway, that's my rate. 35 is, so that would have to be the part, right? So we put it up here at the top, and it says of what amount? In other words, I don't know. So I'll put a question mark where I don't know. Then we come over here and we write our formula down. If you want to use your formula as is over of equals percent over 100, that's fine with me. That bothers some people because it doesn't match the letters here. So I'm just going to put P over B equals R over 100. And then line equals line over 100 is your empty formula. 20 is rate, it goes over 100. Now, part is the top here. I'm not going to put a question mark there, I'm going to put an X. Now draw your arrow, remember, to connect the two numbers that are diagonal, and circle. So we're kind of shortcutting some algebra out. Now, they didn't ask you to do this, but I'm going to ask you to set up the math problem, because a lot of times on these tests, they don't want you to work it out. They just want you to pick out the right problem. So I want you to write this times this, big division sign, which is actually a fraction bar, is division, remember, and 20 goes on the bottom. So I want you to write that down. So all of that's going to equal our X, or our base. You want to leave it as capital B. Then we just put that on the calculator, 35 times 100 divided by 20, and we get 175. So X, which is the base, is 175. Now, if you don't like calling it X, you could call it capital B. Just don't put a question mark. That's not good, okay? All right, so that's super easy, right? So we identify and label, we write the formula, we fill in the formula, we set up the problem, and we work it. It's more steps than just doing it in your head, but it's important that we do the steps in the beginning, okay? Just try to trust me. I'm not trying to make you do extra work. I'm just trying to get you set up so that you've got good math skills to continue. 5% of what number is 14? Notice they're using those words, is and of. So we got P equals, B equals, R equals. And we've got 5%, so that's got to be the rate. Of what? In other words, I didn't tell you what the of was, so base is empty, question mark, because I don't know it. And it says is 14, so 14 is the part. So then we come over here and we write our formula, P over B equals rate over 100. Then we plug our stuff in. So we got line equals line over 100. 14, B for base, R is 5. Then we draw our arrow only where the numbers are diagonal. Circle the third number. So that's 14 times 100 divided by 5. And then B equals whatever that equals. So you can just work it out. So 14 times 100 divided by 5, 280. Which makes sense. 280 should be a bigger number because that over here is a proper fraction. So those are pretty easy. I mean, you know, you're just just identifying your parts. So let's skip around and do a different one. Let's do number 9. 90% of 15 is what number? So we got P equals, B equals, R equals. 90% would be the rate, right? That's easy. Of 15, of, remember, stands for base, is what number? Question mark for part. Then go ahead, P over B equals rate over 100. Then empty it out so that you can fill it back in. We don't know P, so P stays in the formula. We do know B, so it's 15. We know rate, so it's got a number. Then we draw an arrow, we circle, we set it up. I know, extra work, yuck, yuck. And then we solve it. 15 times 90 divided by 100. 13.5. You can have a decimal. All right, and that's it. Okay, and if it's money, was that money? Yeah, so it's $13.50. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. We will continue some more percents in the next series of videos.